Not really. Live and in person virtually. What? Nano Goblin. That's right, motherfuckers. This is the News Underground, the hardcore news on Twitch. It's the only real news you get on Twitch. Just kidding. No. There's some real news on Twitch, but we keep it the realest. We do the most. We work the hardest. Probably not. Fake news. Hey, you know what? We keep it real. Maybe we're not working the hardest. I'd like more people in the stream so that we could do more organizing. That's the thing. It's like Destiny and Vosh and all these so-called lefties. I mean, not Vosh. Nah, we're good, man. We're officially done with that, right? It's cat's out of the bag. I feel bad for the guy, but I don't, because he never took it back. There's never a mea culpa. It's always hours and hours of justification and lip flapping instead of, yeah, I'm sick. I'm going to go see a doctor. Please forgive me. It's, oh, well, I'm not sick. Nothing's wrong with me. I'm just into bestiality and... But it's what I'm trying to get at, though, is their audience. They got a big ass audience. March, man. Destiny's canvassing. Destiny is canvassing. So big props to you, Destiny. Thank you for canvassing. Showing his audience, that's what you got to do. So Destiny is canvassing. All right, so big props to Destiny. I forgot to point that out a while back. Destiny is 100% canvassing. All right, folks, happy Monday. This is the News Underground. I am Abandoned Nihilism. This is the news lunch break. I'm going to try to do 2 hours of news here every day of the week. We're going to see if we can do this every day of the week. Big props, by the way, to all these underground artists. I can barely say their name. Screw, Looney Chax, Bunta Sparks, There is no happy Monday. Oh, Zig. Davey. I almost called you my dog's name for some reason. My dog is always so sad and dour. Like, oh, Ziggy. Why are you so sad? All right, so I've just picked out some headlines here. I really actually should have taken the time to sort them. I was too eager. I didn't even look through all of my links. Just wanted to get through some headlines. Right off the bat, I thought we'd just get this garbage out of the way. Let's do it.
I want to start by thanking the Supreme Court for its unanimous decision today. It was a very important decision. We're very well crafted, and I think it will go a long way toward bringing our country together, which our country needs. And they worked long, they worked hard, and frankly, they worked very quickly on something that will be spoken about 100 years from now and 200 years from now. Extremely
it will
important.
be. Yeah, sure will be.
Essentially, you cannot take somebody out of a race because an opponent would like to have it that way.
It might have something to do with the attempted insurrection, Donald. I think that was the reason why that state government said you should be taken off the ballot. It was your attempted insurrection, Donald. But please continue.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that it's the leading candidate, whether it was the leading candidate or a candidate that was well down on the totem pole. I think it's a very big day for
even the AP
America.
Cuts him out.
I think it's a very big day for liberty, and I think it's just a great day for this country. Again, I hope it's unifying, like I think, but
everything he said,
it's a big
it's the
step
exact
toward
opposite.
Unification. I hope that the justices, because they'll be working on some other cases, but one in particular, presidents have to be given total immunity. They have to be allowed to do their job. If they're not allowed to do their job, it's not what the founders wanted, but perhaps even more importantly, it will be terrible for our country. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Ooh, I mean, literally the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite. By the way, welcome back, Davey. Welcome back, Chem Goblin, Estonian. Welcome back, Zeo Duke, of course. Welcome back, number one in the chat, Zeo Duke. Congratulations. Big accolade for somebody. Yeah, so it's just, yeah, so the reason why he, what was it, Colorado, who tried to take him off the ballot. There's several states trying to take him off the ballot. Look at the comments. A great win for our constitutional republic and democracy. The one that you are voting to remove, right? The great win for this thing we're trying to destroy. Well, so this is not the immunity. This is not the presidential immunity Supreme Court decision that they delayed, by the way. That's the most important one. That was the one that they delayed until April. Of course they did. So this one they did very quickly because, it's very important to keep Trump on the ballot. I mean, it's really happening, this is really happening. The right, it's exactly the way the cynics, it's playing out exactly the way the cynics predicted. Okay, Supreme Court's turned into a right-wing slop factory with no respect for itself. By design, as desired. Right wing, it's going to shoot it through. And yeah, it's interesting to me because what they are creating they are creating a dictator which will make the Supreme Court irrelevant. But that's okay, right? Because in the eyes of a toady, in the eyes of a hack, yeah, welcome back, Rob. In the eyes of a hack, a bootlicker, that's okay. I don't really need power because I just do what I'm told anyway. So as long as I do what I'm told, I'll be taken care of. They're perfectly happy to be toadies in a fascist dictatorship. The right wingers of the Supreme Court. So Clutch Cargo, you think You think even after an attempt, you think a person who attempted an insurrection should be allowed to run for president? Cool, dude. That's really cool. Yeah. No, I disagree. Gonna have to disagree with you there, bud.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, so we got Ukraine here, Israel, Hamas, China. Sorry, we got France, Palestine. Yeah, okay, so that's there. We got UK.
When he was in.
What do we got here? Haiti, and right wing. Okay, so let's do this other bit of right wing news. So kicking people off ballots specifically for attempting an insurrection, Clutch Cargo. You are, for some reason, you are repeating right-wing talking points. Either you're intentionally omitting this fact, or it was a mistake. But specifically for attempting an insurrection, Clutch Cargo, not for any reason, not because, oh, I don't like your tie. Trump is guilty for attempting an insurrection. That is what the state Supreme Court said. And said, yeah. First they figured out, okay, did he do an insurrection? Yes, he did. Okay, we have a law in the books from the Civil fucking War for obvious reasons. You can't be part of the rebel army and then run for office. So, yeah. Clutch, it would be chaos if someone could just be kicked off the ballot for any reason. Good thing we're not talking about that. Good thing we're talking about a very, very specific situation, which is the president of the United States attempted a fucking coup, baby! Yeah, that's a good question. Did they agree? I guess we should get into the weeds. Let's get into the weeds on this one. Let's get all the details. Let's get all the details on this one. Yeah, so this is the Colorado case.
Supreme Court has handed former President Donald Trump a major victory, overturning a judicial decision that excluded him from Colorado's ballot over his involvement in the January 6, 2021 attacks on the U.S. Capitol. Our Reggie Cecchini joins us now from outside the Supreme Court in Washington. So, Reggie, let's start by breaking down the decision. How exactly did the court come to this?
Hey there, Miranda. So it was interesting how we came to this decision today. The announcement was made on Sunday, just in a posting to the court website, that they may be offering a decision today. This is not a typical day where the court sits. The justices are not on the bench today. Tuesday and Thursday are the typical decision days. So we assumed that there would be something momentous coming from the court today. And this is important because tomorrow is Super Tuesday, where Donald Trump was expected to be on the ballot in several states trying to remove him from the ballot. So what we ended up with was this multi-page decision that came down from the justices on the bench. It was a 9-0 unanimous decision with some additional words at the end, though. All 9 justices arguing that Colorado or any other state does not have the right to be able to take somebody off of the primary ballot, arguing that it would create a bit of a patchwork around the United States. And in fact, one of the things that they had said was that they conclude the states may disqualify persons holding or attempting to hold state office, but that states have no power under the Constitution to enforce Section 3 with respect to federal office, especially the president.
We conclude that states may disqualify persons holding or attempting to hold state office, but states have no power under the Constitution to enforce Section 3 with respect to federal offices, especially the president.
So effectively what we have the court saying is that the states can do what they want when it comes to state level offices, but when it comes to the presidency, that's something that Congress ultimately needs to be liable for here. So essentially kicking a political decision out of the court.
Well, Clutch Cargo, I would certainly hope so. Because the alternative is it's okay to be a king. you can be king.
To Congress saying, look, if the Insurrection Act needs to be upheld and we're trying to ban anybody from being on a ballot, Congress has to be able to enforce legislation. We have to see if Congress is interested in taking up that kind of legislation. But ultimately, as you said, this is a big win for Donald Trump.
All right, so Reggie, how likely is it that Congress will take the steps to invoke a post-Civil War constitutional provision to keep Trump or any other person looking to become president off the ballot?
Well, look, it's difficult to say that that's something that they're going to take up either this term or any other term, particularly if you have.
They could have said for only insurrection. You know what I mean? Only if you are found to have legitimately. You know what I mean? So that isn't a good enough threshold. States' rights, huh? Wow. I mean, that's so absurd to me. That's so absurd. There's literally nothing you could there's really no crime you could commit. There's no wrong you could do that a state that would give the state the right to remove your ability to run for president. Man, that's fucking bananas, man.
Have a Republican-led Congress that may be doing what it can to shield Donald Trump from any kind of accountability or criminal responsibility, not just for what took place in the aftermath of the 2020 election through January 6th, but also any kind of future problems as well. And look, it's important to point out that while this was a 9-0 decision, the liberal justices on the bench, 3 of them, said that the court is too broadly sweeping here, that they're making it almost impossible to have anybody held accountable in the future. And in fact, not only was it the 3 liberal justices, but there was one Trump-appointed justice as well, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who agreed with the liberals by saying that this goes too far. But, this is an attempt to try and...
So the liberals didn't agree with it then. Okay, hold on. We're getting some fucking misinformation here. Who voted? Who voted for this? Who voted for this? It's a unanimous ruling specific to Colorado, but it also overrides challenges brought in other states. Okay, so it was unanimous. Court ruled that only Congress, top court's decision clears the way for Trump. Yeah, Mr. Trump front runner. Yeah, Monday. In state, Colorado Secretary of State said that this was disappointed with the ruling. Colorado's Secretary of State Jenna Griswold said that she was disappointed by the ruling and that Colorado should be able to bar oath-breaking insurrectionists from our ballot. Hey, Clutch Cargo, can you help me out? Do you agree with Jenna Griswold here that a state should be able to bar somebody specifically for attempting an insurrection? Maybe we should have Davey, Clutch Cargo. So there's no crime, even the greatest crime, which the sedition is considered the greatest crime in the United States. Look at what they're doing to Julian Assange. So even for full-blown seditious, treasonous activity, you guys are free speech absolutists or something? Okay, so Davey doesn't agree. Do you agree with this, Clutch Cargo? That it's okay? So if a liberal, if fucking Joe Biden attempted a fucking insurrection, I know it's unthinkable, but you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, well, They're saying that states can't make decisions, but no special exemptions? Not even if, This is insane. You people are insane. I guess not. You guys are fruitcakes. Okay? I kind of agree. There's nothing wrong with a special rule that says if you're guilty of insurrection, you could get kicked off the ballot for that one fucking thing. One fucking murder. No. Can't murder, you can still run. You kidnap a whole opera house of people. Nope, you're good. But if you attempt an insurrection, unequivocally proven, can't even have a special rule there, huh? You guys are Clown City. Big red nose. What the fuck are we talking about, dude? It's cool to plan and execute an insurrection and then run for president again? What? But the liberals, it was unanimous. Okay. I just want to know if my chat agrees. I just want to know if my chat agrees with this. And seemingly half of you do. It's bananas. It's the ultimate crime against the state, dude. I'm not talking to you, Davey. Additionally, the watch group that brought the case in Colorado, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics, said in a statement that while the court failed to meet the moment, it is still a win for democracy. Trump will go down in history as an insurrectionist. The winners write the history books, and Trump will make sure that Howard Zinn doesn't get published. We won't get an alternate history. R.I.P. I know he's gone, but we'll get, surely someone out there will carry that torch, write another alternate history of the United States that tells us the truth of what happened. The two other states, Maine and Illinois, had followed Colorado in kicking Mr. Trump off the ballot on similar grounds. Yeah, they did a whole investigation. They said, yep, this guy attempted insurrection. Yeah, he should get kicked off the ballot. The efforts in both states were put on hold while his challenge in Colorado ruling was escalated to the Supreme Court. So there we go. This is a massive L for democracy. This is a massive L for democracy. Because he attempted an he was boldly undemocratic in his actions. All right, I'm not gonna dwell too much longer on this already for 20 minutes, but this is so important. I just want to know what the justices says of the court's justices. Amy Coney Barrett wrote separate that the fact that all 9 justices agreed on the outcome of this case is the message that America should take home. Yeah, that our Supreme Court sucks. That our Supreme Court, when asked to commit seppuku, got on its knees and lifted the sword without hesitation. This is the destruction of the Supreme Court, because what this is doing is making something greater than it. The antithesis of the entire system. Can't even do a special rule? Court has settled a politically charged issue, but the court's three liberal justices argued that the ruling seeks to decide novel constitutional questions to insulate this court and Trump from future controversy. And you went along with it by announcing, quote, that a disqualification for insurrection can occur only when Congress enacts a particular kind of legislation. Yeah, you went along with this. In doing so, the majority shuts the door on the other potential means of enforcement. They added, this is unanimous. Oh my God, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? Hello? I'm losing my fucking mind. This law professor told the BBC that while the court's concerns about Mr. Trump's exclusion from the ballot are quote unquote fair, the ruling may have far-reaching consequences. Yeah, you think? It opens the door to constitutional interpretation matters that weren't at issue in the case. The decision throws the problem to Congress at a time when partisan deadlock will guarantee inaction on this matter for decades. The decision effectively ensures that the question of the former president's constitutional eligibility under Section 3 will not be resolved prior to the 2024 election, if ever. If ever. Another legal scholar, Albany Law School's Ray Briska, said the court's decision prevents a situation in which there is a patchwork of states with different processes. If the court was to allow Colorado to proceed in this way, what's to stop some rogue prosecutor in another state from saying that a candidate from a different party is not a viable candidate because they engaged in insurrection? Yeah, I guess if a local state's government is completely captured by a partisan party, which is what we have right now, right? And all the partisans all agreed Joe Biden was technically an insurrectionist because he doesn't build a 9-foot steel wall on the border with Mexico. Then yeah, I guess so. I guess this is something that could be abused. That's to me, that's the best point. Is that, yeah, if we're talking about, well, a state government, well, what do we have in Texas? What do we have in Kentucky? What do we have in Arizona? Completely captured by the right wing. The entire establishment, man. Okay? Getting the right wingers out of Texas, it'd be easier picking hay out of a hay bale the size of the Empire State Building. You know what I mean? You'd have an easier time doing that. Yukановich was convicted 2 times and he was still elected as president. Did that work out well, Kem Goblin? Having a twice convicted criminal run the country? All right. Well, okay. I owe Clutch Cargo an apology. I disagree with the Supreme Court. I disagree with the people that are agreeing with this. But I don't think the court did this to prevent this. I don't think the court made this decision for this reason. It is a good point, though. Texas, Arizona, all they have to do is that, the Supreme Court of any of those states have to say, for whatever reason, they can fucking bubble up, right? The alternative would be some kind of federal process that would be triggered by the state. I don't know if that's even possible. Could the Supreme Court say, well, okay, there's an exception and this is how the exception works? These are the rules to the exception, right? To make this fair, to make this nonpartisan, the state can trigger this process, but then the process finishes at the federal level to determine if the president is, in fact, an insurrectionist. Can the Supreme Court do that? Say, yeah, we'll make a special exemption, but here's the process. That sounds like something they should be able to do. I don't know, man. To me, this is a harbinger. This is a really, really bad sign. But I have to begrudgingly agree with this scenario because this is the scenario we're dealing with. And in some cases like California, the left-wingers, the neoliberals, have a pretty solid capture of their local justice systems. Was run out of town by Ukraine and is now hiding in Russia. Wow, really? You mean it wasn't a great idea to make a twice convicted criminal your president? I'm shocked. I'm actually shocked. I mean, I believe in second chances, I believe in second chances, guys. Well, once again, thank you, Clutch Cargo, and I apologize. I disagree with you, but I apologize for my vicious words. I do. I'm sorry. Let's finish up this little right-wing coverage I have here. Charlie Kirk, once again, the fascist Charlie Kirk, who wants to institute a authoritarian theocracy, maybe a theocracy or just a straight-up dictatorship. He'll take either. But he absolutely wants to tell you what to do with your genitals. He wants to tell you what to do with your children. He wants to tell you how to teach your children. He wants to tell you what you can and can't see on TV. Charlie Kirk is the definition of a fascist. Well, here he is doing what fascists love to do, which is redefine history, saying that the United States form of government was inspired by Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy. God, you know, maybe it'd be easier to criticize something if I could actually say it. Some Bible bullshit. I don't think Charlie Kirk believes the Bible bullshit. I think he's one of those cynical Tucker Carlson nihilists that sees it as a viable avenue for, you know, full authoritarian control. I think he's far more Steve Bannon than he is, I don't know, true believer. You know what I mean? Thank you again, Clutch Cargo. Should the red states be able to decide that Biden should? Well, I mean, that's globalized agenda. That's what I was talking about, right? Is that, well, yeah, technically right now there are right-wing states that might be able to get something passed by the right-wing Supreme Court of that state that says, you know, Joe Biden's an insurrectionist because he eats ice cream and wears aviator glasses, and I don't like that, and it makes my wife hot, and that bothers me. I haven't made my wife horny in 16 years. He's an insurrectionist. Yeah, that, you know, not behind.
The founding fathers used that Deuteronomy scripture when they were setting the country up.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, it's Deuteronomy 28. I'll read it in a sec. So it's a great point. So out of all the books, both secular and religious, that were quoted the most in the founding of the country, Deuteronomy was by far quoted the most.
Because he can't say it. He can't say it properly as well. So you know, we're both idiots.
Deuteronomy talks about separation of powers, consent to the government, independent judiciary. The form of our government is directly inspired from Deuteronomy, and it makes sense because Moses is basically telling, like, hey, Joshua, like, this is how you set up the government. You're about to get into the land of milk and honey. You're about to enter Canaan. This is how I recommend you set things up.
Yeah, so the founding fathers who demanded separation of church and state immediately, who were running from a theocratic government, they used religious text to form our government. They just did it secretly and with subtext, and we're bringing it out. It's the coming out party for America's true theocratic future. See, they need to redefine it. We won't get in. I mean, look, if you're watching this, you know how fascists work, but they need to redefine these definitions. They need to redefine the foundational elements, of American society, because when they radically change them, they're going to be introducing these radical changes as, oh, we're actually, this is the way things were when things were working, and we're going back to them, and of course, far too late will people realize, wow, this is a brave new world. This is really, this is really something else. I actually have no control over my life anymore. And this is the exact opposite of liberty. But of course, that realization comes far too late, right? Well, we could have thought you shouldn't kill people. It's so funny how they pick and choose, right? It's so funny how they pick and choose. There's so much stuff in the Bible that's like, kiss the feet of a homeless man and let immigrants into your home. There's like one sentence about bum sex being, maybe it's wrong, and they're like, oh, you see, all gay people. I don't know every fucking book. They're like, and then anytime you call them out, they're like, oh, I don't believe in that version of the book. I believe in this version of the book that says a bunch of other things. Okay. Sure you do. Because we're all theologians here. We've all read the books. No one's read the fucking books. You kidding me? Have you tried to read the fucking Bible? Said thou they fucking grain and shit. It's the most boring fucking book you've ever read, dude. I'd rather read Finnegan's Wake than the Bible. Chinese Communist Party sets out policy for coming year as economic struggles continue. So we got updates on the Chinese economy, and goddamn, you got to give them credit. You got to give, China #1 at hiding their economic downfall. China's #1. This trillions of dollars, poof, gone. And their economy humming away, dude. It's like, it's like the Chinese economy has a fucking gun to its head. You know what I mean? It's like, no, Chem Goblin. Actually, Finnegan's Wake is a brilliant work of art. It's just one of the most incomprehensible texts ever written. That is apparently comprehensible. People have dedicated their entire lives to try and figure out what the story is in Finnegan's Wake. All right, anyway.
Now to China, where nearly 3,000 delegates are gathering for the annual get-together of the country's political elite, the National People's Congress. The Communist Party's showpiece lays out policy for the year ahead, with the economy struggling and regional tensions running high over Taiwan. In a surprise move, Beijing has scrapped the traditional news conference with the Premier Li Keqiang, one of the few opportunities for journalists to question.
They scrapped one of the few opportunities, and I bet all these questions were total softballs. Can't even. That's how these dictators work, right? That you can't question them, not even slightly, not even in the slightest way. Their ego gets to the point where it's like, well, am I God? I mean, technically, I kind of am, right? And there's really, you shouldn't really have the ability to question me because, I mean, obviously I'm right. Obviously, you're going to do what you're told. This is all rather, in fact, you being given the opportunity to even question me kind of brings me down to your level, which obviously we're not. Obviously, like I said, I mean, I'm basically almost God. This is how the dictator is thinking, right? And this is, I mean, come on, this is such a joke. He's dictator for life.
With the Premier Li Keqiang, one of the few opportunities for journalists to question a Chinese leader. Our reporter, Clifford Coonan, has more on this year's Congress.
What a fucking joke.
It's Chinese political theater.
And these jokers get in my chat. If you've been here long enough, you've seen these pro-China jokers get into my chat being like, oh, China has a stronger democracy than the United States, and I don't know what you're talking about. It's, gaslighting us.
At its finest. Thousands of Communist Party delegates gathered beneath red flags in Beijing's Great Hall of the People for China's annual legislature. The National People's Congress is basically a rubber stamp parliament, but the event does offer signals of how the ruling communist elite will balance the need to kickstart the flagging economy with leader Xi Jinping's focus on security and expanding the party's role.
This garbage isn't communism, dude.
Beijing's stance on self-rule Taiwan always attracts attention.
Communism.
While no one expects meaningful policy changes at the NPC, recent weeks have seen China reiterate its opposition to any...
I would say this is an autocracy at this point. But I mean, I honestly, I'm not a fucking smart person, right? But I really feel like, has China really ever been communist? It's always had this hierarchy. This ingrained hierarchy. In fact, it's very cultural, this hierarchy. I remember seeing, man on the street interviews when talking about Hong Kong, talking about Hong Kong independence. And there was a lot of, this is the way things should be. We should be run by our we should be controlled by an iron fist by our government. That's the logical way. It's very ingrained into Chinese, cultural identity. And has communism, you know what I mean? everyone equal. I mean, they got the state mandate stuff down. They got the state mandate stuff, but true communism, it goes both ways. True communism goes both ways. And of course, the people that are in charge shouldn't be millionaires. They should be, they should do their 4 years or 8 years and go back to their fucking farms or whatever the fuck, right? Isn't that how communism's supposed to work? All given to each need, except we got billionaires everywhere in China. Oh yeah. What's the phrase? Any commies in here? Give me the phrase. Each to his own, by his need, or whatever the fuck. That ain't communism. This shit isn't communism, dude. Like I said, autocracy. Maybe dictatorship. I don't know. Maybe we need a new term. Neo-communism. To each his own. What the fuck is that phrase? Let me look it up.
U.S. support for Taiwan, which Beijing claims...
Yeah, from each according to his ability to each according to his need. Thank you, Zio-Do. The commie phrase. Is that China? Come on, dude. And I'm not saying you have to follow the fucking, the little red book or Marxist or, the Communist Manifesto to the T or whatever the fuck, right? Obviously, things are going to be different in the modern era, but I don't know. I just communism.
China reiterates its opposition to any U.S. support for Taiwan, which Beijing claims as its own.
Yeah. No, Clutch Cargo, I have been following the Chinese economic crisis, and like I said, China #1 at hiding their economic crisis. It's unbelievable. Trillions of dollars going up. Whole city blocks are having a demo, you know, half-built buildings. People bought apartments for buildings that were never finished and are not getting their money back, and somehow everything's floating along just nicely.
China has always firmly opposed the United States engaging in any form of official exchanges with the Taiwan authorities, and firmly opposes interference in Taiwan's affairs in any way.
Speculation swirls around the fate of Qin Gang, the former foreign minister and Xi protege, who's not been seen since last June after rumours of an affair. Ex-defence minister Li Shangfu also vanished last year. Xi is serving an unprecedented third term as leader. His rule has been characterised by
from each according to his ability to each according to his need. Well, I guess he just really needed this massive parade microphone car setup, guys. Are we fucking serious? And there are people on the left who are like, yeah, well, maybe China should take over. You know, they're doing really well. You know, look at this fucking, come on. Oh, he's not a dictator, guys. Come on. Not an autocrat? No, no, no. This is communism.
a focus on national security, even at the expense of economic growth or business confidence. The world's second largest economy is losing impetus as the government tightens its grip on companies and debt levels surge after a bursting of a real estate bubble.
Horrible.
Xi has prioritized security and foreign policies that build ties with Russia and the global south, while taking a more aggressive tone against the West, especially the United States. Now China is trying to ease relations with the West because it needs foreign investment. The MPC will also reveal Beijing's planned spending on national defense, which is likely to keep increasing. But this is primarily about a display of power. The real decisions have already been made behind the scenes.
How does he look so bored? How does he look so bored? The guy could pull his pants down and rip the nastiest diarrhea dump you've ever seen in your life, and not a single one of these motherfuckers would say or do a single thing. Okay? And this guy, look, he's like I'm saying, he has more power than you know, anybody in this entire country. This guy looks like, you know, he's standing in line at the bank.
Display of power. The real decisions have already been made behind the scenes.
Okay.
A report from our Asia analyst and reporter, Clifford Coonan, who joins me now. Welcome, Cliff. So we just heard highly choreographed event taking place against a background of slowing economic growth and increasing debt. So is there anything particular you're going to be looking out for?
Well, I think we'll be looking for clues. This is always a very, as we mentioned, a choreographed event. The decisions have already...
It's a closed market, by the way, if you don't know. The Chinese market is like, if you're not Chinese, you're not allowed to invest a lot of the time. It's very difficult as a foreigner to invest in the Chinese market. It's like, it's very insulated.
Been made. We want to know what those decisions are, because traditionally you have all the pomp and circumstance in the Great Hall of the People, but actually finding out what is happening within this opaque black box of power that is at the heart of power in China, how decisions are made. That's where we're always looking for at the NPC. Despite all the pageantry, we want to actually find out what's happening in China.
OK. Now, one of the things that's not happening is the press conference that's usually given by the Premier, Li Qiang, not holding a news conference after this event.
Congress.
This is a big deal.
Yeah. It is. I mean...
Yeah, National People's Congress, sorry.
This is the only contact between the world media and the ruling party in the world's second biggest economy that there is. And now there's none. There's basically no official point of contact. It was a very stage-managed event. The questions are chosen in advance. I remember one year being told that maybe I could ask a question, and then 2 days later being told what that question was going to be. Right. So it's not, these aren't real.
Here's the question you're going to ask. See what I mean? And so he can't even handle that. And it's that ego, right? It's like, I'm not you. I am better. I am ultimate. I can do whatever I want. That's the mentality of a dictator.
Questions, but and 1 year Reuters, the news agency, broke this pact and they asked a real question, and it caused incredible trouble. Reuters was frozen out for ages. So there's all kinds of it was, even though it was very little contact, it was still something. Now there's nothing. So people are wondering what's going on with this. Maybe it's Xi Jinping showing just how powerful he is by taking the premier, because it was always given by the premier, taking Li Qiang out of the equation, and now here we are 12 years into well into his third term of power, and we have no idea what direction he's taking this massive country.
Okay.
No, and this is actually a behavior he's already exhibited this behavior. Remember that old guy that I don't know, some kind of mild critic of Xi Jinping? He was a sitting member, and he was supposed to sit next to Xi Jinping was sitting there, stone-faced, not even looking at him. And, security guys came by, had to physically pick him up and remove him from the building. And it was all just a big power play by Xi Jinping. So this is not, behavior that out of the blue. And that's what I think it is. I think this is just him, saying, yeah, no, things, we're consolidating power, right? I am the new Putin. Get used to it.
And a brief word on that direction, because as the economic indicators worsen, do we expect a change of policy? You said that's one of the things that you're going to be looking out for.
Yeah, I mean, people are looking to see if the government tries to spend its way out of trouble, but it has difficulty there. I think what we're going to see is that it's going to try and get closer relations to the US so that it can basically sell its goods to the West and to Europe and the US. And I think it's going to try and make nice at the same time while showing itself to be a very powerful country. So it's a balancing act that it's got to do.
Okay, thank you for that, Cliff.
So there's nothing we can do about this. It's the Chinese people that have a choice in this, whether it's presented to them or not. Of course, the choice for democracy is always there. But I think Xi is more competent than Putin so far. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Putin seemingly is a bit delusional about history. He doesn't seem to have a grasp on, he seems to have some kind of, his own version of history. He also seems to think that democracy in the United States is going to fail at any moment. Good thing he's not correct about that one, though, right, guys? Right? So the French lawmakers vote to enshrine abortion rights into the Constitution. So this is great news. Putin is just turning Russia into a Chinese puppet state. Yeah, that's what some people say. I think it's more complicated than that. I think Russia thinks they're playing China, right? Yeah, not starting any war for a personal issue sure makes him look more competent. It does. Certainly does.
France has become the first country in the world to enshrine the right to an abortion in its constitution. French lawmakers completed the historic vote less than an hour ago in Versailles. And journalist Ross Cullen is in Versailles and joins me now live. So, Ross, how did this unfold?
Yeah, Andrew, the Chateau de Versailles just behind me. In the last hour, we have had that result. A rare joint session of Parliament is how it unfolded, with MPs and senators coming together for a chance to have the final vote on whether they wanted to enshrine abortion rights into the French Constitution.
So this is something the neoliberals could have done several times when we gave them supermajorities. They, of course, have failed to do this. They decided that it would be more important for abortion to be a fundraising tool. Then, of course, thanks to RBG, I always say RGB because I'm a nerd, but no, RBG, we, of course, lost abortion rights completely.
They've already had their votes in the lower house and the upper house separately, but they have to come together for a combined vote as the final parliamentary step, and they did approve an overwhelming majority, 780 votes in favour, 72 against. For this to pass, they needed just over 500 votes, so they cleared that easily because this policy has broad support from the far left through the centre to the far right.
Celebrations.
A lot of MPs and senators overwhelmingly in favour of this. The next step, the last step, will be for the President, who by custom is not here, not at a joint session at Parliament, for the President Emmanuel Macron to conduct the official signing ceremony, which will be the first ever signing ceremony for a constitutional change to take place in public, and it will happen on March the 8th, which was not a random date. It was chosen by Emmanuel Macron because that will be this year's International Women's Day.
And Ross, abortion has been legal in France for nearly 50 years, so why is this move taking place now?
Yeah, it is a historic move in terms of the international outcomes and international constitutions. When we look at where abortion is legal, where abortion is enshrined into the constitution, France taking the lead on that for sure. But it hasn't been provided for by law since 1975. The spark for all of this change, though, was 2 years ago when the US Supreme Court in 2022 overturned Roe v. Wade, overturned the constitutional guarantee to access an abortion.
So us going back into time inspired other countries. We should probably do that thing that the United States didn't do before it's too late, before the right-wingers finish their theocratic agenda.
Abortion service in the United States. And when France saw that, lawmakers from across the political spectrum thought this is something that we need to do here. We need to take our protections for accessing pregnancy termination services a step further. They need to be into and enshrined in the Constitution to protect those provisions. There have been protests here in Versailles today. A lot of religious groups have been speaking out, saying that it would be better to enshrine the rights of children and the rights of women into the Constitution. Rather than...
guys. We should enshrine the rights of children. Zygotes need rights, guys, because this work, all that is working out so well in the United States, guys. Yeah, a pregnant woman should be able to drive in a carpool lane, dude. Absolutely. It all makes perfect sense to me, dude.
Than this accessing an abortion, but overall, as I say, across all sorts of different political parties, there is this broad support for the measure, which will be signed into law, finally, into the Constitution on Friday. Andrew?
Hell yeah.
Ross, thank you. That is...
Hey, and that's some great news. Thank you so much, France. I mean, this is Macron. So this is very bipartisan. As I think the fellow there said 50 years it's been legal in France. So, boy, France showing just how amorous they are over there. There's a big problem with prohibition. It spawns an illegal market, the existence of which will definitely lead to excess death. Absolutely, Tisrael. You're talking about, the back alley abortion, providers. Yeah, absolutely. So moving on to the UK. I don't have time for this, unfortunately. The next hour is gonna be Russia, Ukraine, so we're gonna cover that first. Let's do Palestine and Haiti instead. Hey, freedom of speech. Red flag. Who blew the Nord Stream? Well, we don't fucking know, do we? There's a lot of game theory on both sides. I blew it. It was college. I was experimenting. Boo. What? Boo. Boo. What are you talking about? But no, when you game it out, I would say 60% United States, 40% Russia, maybe 60% Russia, 40%, you know what I mean? Like I said, 50%, I'm just get 50-50. But the theories, there's actually 3 legitimate theories. Yeah, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Yeah, well, how the fuck do you know with such certainty? How the fuck do you know? Nobody knows. What, your gut? And if Is Russia's invasion of Ukraine justified because of the Nord Stream pipeline getting blown up? Right? Is that where we're going? Freedom of speech. If you don't have the strength, the fortitude to admit you don't know for certain, this is very tragic. But if you don't have the strength to admit that you don't know for certain, just like everybody else, then you're a charlatan and you don't belong here.
ضربوها صاروخ الصاروخ دمر كل المنطقة دمر بيت نعيم دمر بيت نضال دمر بيت عماد دمر بيت أبو محمود ولسه في شهداء في العمارة لسه ما طلعوهمش
Yeah, you're a fraud. Please leave. Last thing we need in this chat is a bunch of Dunning-Kruger morons. Certain about shit that no one could be certain about. What a fucking idiot. It requires, yeah, you're a fraud. It requires strength of character to admit you don't know.
في هذا العدوان بأن ما عجزوا عن فرضه في الميدان لن يؤخذ بمكائد السياسة كائنا ما كانت أشكال التحايل والضغوط التي توظف.
Yeah, sure. Let me just send you an invite, buddy. 1 second.
في التفاوض حرصا على دماء شعبنا ولوضع حد لآلامه الكبيرة.
There you go. I sent you an invite. Yeah, Tisrael, I'm so sick of these clowns. Well, I'm not 100%, but I'm 99%. Okay. Okay. How many times you masturbate a day? 3? 4? Admit it.
Well,
admit it. Bunch of porn-addicted fucking weirdos claiming they're experts on the internet.
Ceasefire.
Random slander. Just random slander. You think 3's lots? I gotta get them rookie numbers up, boy.
Ceasefire talks are happening in Cairo, but the Israelis haven't sent a delegation.
Chem Goblin, please don't invite assholes into my Discord. Please don't do that.
That's because Hamas is refusing to send them a list of the hostages, who's alive and who's dead. That might be a negotiating position by Hamas, or it might be that they really don't know, because Israel has decimated Hamas. It doesn't have proper communications. They really might not know which hostages are held where and which are alive and dead. But at the same time, a member of the Israeli war cabinet, Benny Gantz, is in Washington. Now, he is supposed to be meeting Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor, probably around now, and later Kamala Harris, the vice president. But he is there without the approval of his boss, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, because Netanyahu does not want Gantz, who he sees as a political rival, talking to the Americans. He wants to talk to the Americans. But it's a sign also that the Americans, they're really running out of patience with Netanyahu. They see him as intransigent and hardline, and they are sending a message that they would rather deal with Gantz, who they see as more moderate. They regard him as more reasonable. But all of this means that the ceasefire, it looks more distant. And it looks as if the Israeli government is in some kind of disarray. What does that mean on the ground in Gaza City, where they're not getting enough aid, and where without a ceasefire they're not going to get enough aid? Well, it looks like we're going to see more children dying of starvation. For 5 months, neither bombing nor fighting has forced them to leave Gaza City. But now, hunger is driving people south in search of something, anything, to feed their children.
We've reached a stage of hunger like never before. When my daughter wants to eat in the morning...
I mean, look, Israel has literally pushed them to the fucking beaches. You know what I mean? Israel has literally pushed them to the very edge. No joke. No satire. They're like, you know, what's the IDF going to walk up, start pushing them into the, just start slowly shoving them into the ocean? So they're just standing there in the ocean, knee deep, just looking around? Is that the next step?
I can't provide her with food or drink. where am I going to get it? No Arab government is blinking an eye, nor our leadership, nor anyone. They've abandoned us.
Yeah. The Palestinians seem to be very aware of how abandoned they are by the rest of the Arab countries, how cynically they're being used by other richer Arab countries. But look, it's a rock and a hard place. Because you're not fighting a war with Israel. You're fighting a war with the entire United States. And there does seem to be an effort to not change that perception. Because I do think that the current United States government does believe in a very racist way that, I mean, well, there is a point to be made that Israel right now, if Israel does nothing, if Israel doesn't give back the Palestinians any land, they continue to dominate the Palestinians, they continue to implement an apartheid state against the Palestinians, there will continue to be a state of antagonism between Israel and its Arab neighbors. And if like, say the United States were to do a rug pull in Israel right now, well, there might very well be danger for Israel from Jordan, from Egypt, you know, from, what's the other one? Iran, of course, but no, there's another one I'm thinking of. Anyway, you get my point. But if Israel were to treat the Palestinians like human beings, see, that's where the racism comes in. Lebanon, thank you, Clutch Cargo, thank you. Much smarter people in my chat. I need you. But that's where the racism comes in, because the idea is that, well, we can't treat them like human beings because if we give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. We give them peace, they're just going to, you know, build up their arms and build up their energy and fight against us. And look, we have examples from the past. Well, those examples from the past were when Israel was occupying, dominating, and implementing an apartheid state. There was never been a time since Israel's creation that Israel has treated the Palestinians like human beings, and they've never been forced to. By the number one enabler, the United States. They've never had to. For decades and decades, a free pass to victimize the Palestinians within reason, within a containable, controllable PR way, sliver by sliver in the West Bank, atrocity after atrocity, but not too many. Only recently, because this is the end game. This is the end game. Why so harsh on what? The Israeli government? The Israeli government that has never acknowledged the existence of Palestine? The Israeli government that has never defined its own state borders? Why am I so harsh? The Israeli government that implemented the first Nakba and is currently implementing a second one, or I guess some are saying the Nakba never ended, and this is just, you know, a ramping up of the existing Nakba. So whatever. Yeah, why so harsh?
People get water from tanks, some of it salty. Israeli bombing has destroyed wells and pipes. They transport it as best they can. Life in Gaza City has become...
Ukraine, Russia? Oh, well, obviously Russia was totally justified in invading Ukraine, and I'm a full-blown communist on Twitter, and I got my hammer and sickle ready, and that, you know, Russia could do no wrong. Obviously, Crunchy, obviously. Tanky for life, buddy.
Become pretty much impossible. The Israel Defense
Forces. Did you hear about those war crimes in the Donbass?
In Gaza, but Israel's closest ally is losing patience.
Russia had to invade.
After last Thursday's incident, in which at least 100 Gazans were killed when Israeli soldiers shot into a crowd trying to grab food from an aid convoy.
Look at what they've done to Palestine.
Must do more to significantly increase the flow of aid. No excuses.
Crunchy, I told you they invaded because every single citizen of Ukraine is a Nazi, so you got to denazify it, right? There were war crimes in the Donbass. You know, Russia was just minding its own business, trying to occupy a little portion of Ukraine, and Ukraine started bombing civilians. There's all kinds of war crimes. So of course Russia had to come in and do a full-blown invasion, fail at it. But of course, Russia had to come in, do a full-blown invasion to save the Ukrainians. It makes perfect sense to me. Makes perfect sense to me, guys.
They must open new border crossings.
Yeah,
They
Ukrainians
must
love killing people in the
unnecessary
Donbass.
restrictions on the delivery of aid. They must ensure humanitarian personnel, sites, and convoys are not targeted.
Oh,
nor has Israel
she
stopped
means those
bombing
words
Gaza.
too, guys.
Overnight, they struck
She
2
means it.
residences in Rafah. The Americans are calling for an immediate ceasefire, but Hamas has
Strategy is
rejected
here.
Israel's demand for a list of Israeli hostages.
It's all justified, guys.
So
Don't
the
worry.
killing goes on.
I know it looks brutal, and yeah, as Americans, we probably paid for this, but you know, Hamas and stuff. Come on, guys.
As they bury their dead, the people of Gaza are cast into despair.
Well, Ukraine certainly doesn't look like it's going to be winning anytime soon. So I need to give you a deadline to for me to justify my opinion that Russia's invasion of Ukraine was not justified. Of course, that's my opinion. I was being facetious earlier. So for that opinion to be justified, I have to give you some kind of deadline on the victory. Really? Well, you know, it's going to be an endless war, so might as well just accept defeat, right? I mean, the bad guys won here, right? What can you do? Greetings from South Boston. It's your boy, south of Boston, Lenny. Welcome back, Lenny. Thank you.
This is extermination.
You know the villain of the story is just going to win, right, guys?
Why? Why are they killing us? Why don't they tell us we want to kill you all in one go and throw one bomb and just get it over and
She got
done
3
with?
microphones.
A funeral in the West Bank, too, for 16-year-old Mustafa Abu Shalbak, caught up in an Israeli raid on Ramallah today. Used through stones and Molotov cocktails at Israeli...
Crunchy, December 17th. Look forward to it. Come on back December 17th. Fuck off for the rest of the fucking year, okay? So I don't have to see your fucking whatever the fuck you got going on with your fucking icon. It looks like diarrhea. December 17th. Come on back, okay? Victory party. Can you fuck off now?
Soldiers who responded with live fire. It was the most extensive incursion into the West Bank's administrative capital for many years. The Israelis said this was a counter-terrorism operation.
It's like this big on my screen. I don't know. It looks like diarrhea.
And seized inciting materials spread by Hamas. A ceasefire in Gaza is one thing. A solution to the wider conflict is quite another. This is happening at the same time as another ugly row is brewing between the Israeli government and the UN Relief and Works Agency. That's the UN organization charged with looking after Palestinian refugees. About an hour ago, the Israeli government put out what it claimed were intercepts, which it said proved that 2 UNRWA teachers from Gaza had participated in the killings of October the 7th. Now, that happens, as UNRWA has said, that many members of its staff have been detained by the Israelis from Gaza, and that when they were released,
thank you, Tisrael.
They debriefed them and found that, as UNRWA says, they were tortured, and there was also what they call sexual exploitation. Now, that feeds into a wider problem. We know that the Israeli Defense Force have been arresting people in Gaza. They have been taking people for interrogation to find out where Hamas is, as you might expect. But there are more and more allegations that people have been mistreated in custody. And this is brewing into a terrible argument. And we still don't know how many people are being held and exactly what kind of treatment they're enduring.
Massages, daily massages. I mean, there's no evidence prior to October 7th of Israel putting children in dog cages, treating Palestinian prisoners, with zero regard for humanity, no trial, no due process, right? Just total kangaroo courts, guilty immediately, There's no evidence of that. So I'm certain they're getting treated well. Was she talking about the hostages, though? I'm sorry.
That many members of its staff have been detained by the Israelis from Gaza.
Yeah, okay. She was talking about Israel. Okay, I wasn't sure if she was talking about. Get it. All right. Yeah, with sunshine and rainbows before. You know it. globalized. History started on October 7th, right? Never forget 9/11 or October 7th. I doubt the ceasefire momentum. I mean, the ceasefire was a non-starter from day fucking zero. Okay, because the Israelis clutch cargo. Pretend you're the head of Hamas. Are you really going to accept a deal where you give up all of your political leverage for 6 weeks? For a 6-week ceasefire? Oh, here you go. Thanks. I'm going to take a vacation, be back in a couple weeks, start up the war again. Who in their right mind would ever take this deal? It was a non-starter from the very beginning. 6-week ceasefire. Give us all your hostages, 6-week ceasefire, then we're right back to the annihilation campaign. Well, let me just call up my boys. It has been a joke since day zero, this entire negotiation about a ceasefire. Joe Biden talking about, oh, we're just a couple days away. I'm feeling really good about it. Really? Really, Joe? Really? I feel like I'm losing my fucking mind, dude. You know, like democracy slipping away and just like the unreality is all around me, dude. I don't know. I'm panicking. I'm having a fucking panic attack. All right, last story here. Haiti further descends into violence, and then we're going to get over to our Ukraine section.
Haiti is used to violence.
Yeah,
with up to 80% of the capital, Port-au-Prince, controlled by gangs. But what happened at the weekend was a new descent into chaos.
Yeah, strategy. That would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it?
With up to 4,000 prisoners freed when gangs stormed the country's 2 largest prisons. Their goal? To topple the government of the country's Prime Minister, Ariel Henry. Now, one of the key players in this is a gang leader called Jimmy Charizier, also known as Barbecue.
Good point, Globalized.
He had said previously that he was going to take hostage the country's police chief and other politicians.
Good point.
What's next for Haiti? Well, it's difficult to say in a country which has been in crisis for so long.
Look at that.
Ariel Henry.
That's a police van right there. Look at that. Yikes, dude. That's a story that tells that's a picture that tells 1,000 stories right there. Bullet, 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 bullet. Probably the front's all bulleted up too. Oof.
To say in a country which has been in crisis for so long.
All got guns.
Ariel Henry was in Kenya, finalizing the sending of a multinational force to the country, which has been mired in Kenya's internal bureaucracy. US President Joe Biden has refused to commit troops, although he has sent logistics and money. And Henry has promised elections in mid-2025, but he's made this promise before, so it remains to be seen whether elections will go ahead, and if they do, what impact they will have.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Okay, kicking it over to our Ukraine segment as promised. I know I said I would do Ukraine first, but I thought, you know what? Let's do some headlines. Then we'll kick into Ukraine. But this is the Ukraine segment. I did not have time for yesterday, and I do apologize once again to Ukraine for not sometimes leaving them at the end there and then running out of time. I do it quite a bit, so I apologize to Kem Goblin and all my Ukrainian friends. And I would like to scold all the other leftists on Twitch that have forgotten about Ukraine. You know, this shit is not over with. It does feel very sad. It's a shitty time to be covering this, right? Because it's just the Republicans are winning. Joe Biden is a weak, spineless fool that's letting him get away with it. He can do special appropriations for Israel all day, unrequested seemingly. All day can just hand out weapons, but for Ukraine, we got to go through these obstructionists that might have connections to Russian oligarchs. Can't do it. Sorry. Oh, a parliamentarian. What am I going to do? Oh, I'm only the president of the United States. You guys need to give me more power. My hands are tied. So it is depressing to talk about this right now, but I don't care. I'm in this to win this. And the Ukrainians are going to fight to the last man because this is an existential fight. So even without support for the West, even without support from Europe, they're still going to do this. God help us all if Russia is successful in this. If Russia plants the flag into Kyiv, that is going to set a chain of events. It won't happen immediately. It's not a video game. But maybe, I don't know. I mean, how depending on the success of Russia, we might see China make a move on Taiwan. Anyway, Russia SAM intercepts Ukrainian drone near St. Petersburg. So we're seeing Ukrainian drone probably, I feel very confident saying that the target was military, even though I don't have confirmation because of Ukraine's pedigree and Ukraine's history of only targeting so far military. With that said, civilian targets have been hit, but only, by accident, with drones being shot down, malfunctions. We had that Polish farmer, tragically, a farm in the middle of nowhere, and a stray drone or missile hits the farm, killing some farmer. It's just unbelievable. But there is no evidence of Ukraine specifically intentionally targeting Russian civilians, and I'm very proud of them for continuing to do that, because every time Russia strikes, they shave a couple missiles off for an apartment complex or a market, or a coliseum or whatever it may be. Part of the strategy is to terrorize the citizens, and they continue to do so. So here we have Russia.
A rare video here.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. I'm doing it again. Tisrael said I wasn't going to do it, and he was right. I got the set. I was too eager to hit start stream. Okay, I got to do the noise gate. Sorry, but this is an analysis here from really great YouTuber, Succumimus. Really great stuff. Wow, channel totally blowing up. Last time I looked at it, it was like less than 100K subscribers. So already has 255K subscribers. So happy for his success, legitimately. And he does a really good job. You'll see why.
Hello, everyone. A rare video here showing a Russian SAM system actually intercepting something. This video shows a Ukrainian drone.
Wow.
Likely one of the new Shahed copies that Ukraine is using.
Wow, that is spectacular.
Being shot down by a Russian SAM system near St. Petersburg. I'm going to play the video again with the original sound and without me.
Well, Lenny, this is Russia shooting down a Ukrainian drone, but it's still pretty impressive.
Talking.
Oof. Nailed it. Ooh, and then you hear it. Oh, shit. Oh, I mean the YouTuber. Oh, yeah, for sure, Lenny. Absolutely. That would be an international scandal because Russia can level whole cities and ground what Ukraine bombing.
So the reason I wanted to take...
Well, I mean, the moral authority is essential to keeping the aid flowing. Globalize my agenda. The moral authority is essential to that, because the moment Ukraine starts targeting civilians, the right-wing bad actor, grifters, the nihilists, the defeatists are going to be like, see? This is a liberation. These guys are just as bad, and it will be effective, because there's a lot of people that just want to hear that. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, both sides bad. Shut it off. Oh, I'm not being forced into a moral decision here anymore. That the special military operation is going amazing. You hear these fireworks in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Take a look at this is because Twitter user
Okay, I don't need any of this. I don't need any of this. I'm sorry. Okay, I mean, look, you got to give him credit, though. Look at all this confirmation, geolocated metadata.
Venice.
Okay, thanks. I'll just take your word for it, St. Petersburg, dog. I know I'm not. This is overkill for me. If you want to see the rest of this video, no, I agree, Chem Goblin. It is awesome, and this helps me trust these sources more when they're like, no, look at all this. I don't think Sucumona, I think you said he got this off Twitter, right? But look at all this crazy geolocation information. Totally bananas. All right, let's watch just a little bit of it.
Did a great job in geolocating the interception spot and the air defense launch point. So I thought it worth seeing some idea of the SAM coverage in St. Petersburg and also what this drone may have been targeting.
Yeah, wow.
This first image, which is on screen now, shows how we worked it all out. Lots of technical doohickey, which is way beyond my comprehension. I'm from Mansfield. We're still coming to terms with the alphabet over here. Here, simplified, is the SAM launch point and the...
Wow, and look at this kind of like civilians, you know, just with one video being able to ascertain the location of the SAM site. Wow.
Impact zone. The SAM missile traveled a distance of over 1.7.
All right, there you go. There you go. If you want more of the info, I put the link in the chat. We're going to move on to the next link, but thank you so much, Sucumonius. Make sure you like and subscribe, folks. Great YouTuber. Doing good work, blowing up like Lenny. Blowing up like Lenny on the internet. Know what I mean? All right, so let's get to it here. Some of this is going to be, you know, I had this set up yesterday, so feel free to put any latest Ukraine news links in the chat if you think there's something relevant we should talk about. Slovak PM says EU, NATO members weighing sending troops to Ukraine, so it's getting serious. It's getting serious. Everyone balking. No, this can't happen. We can't do this. This can't happen. The conversations are starting to happen because, like, I mean, like, if Trump, you know, if a Trump presidency becomes a reality, it's going to be Europe versus Russia, you know, and seemingly Europe versus Russia and the United States, maybe. Depending on what direction, how convinced Trump can be by the military-industrial complex once they have those private meetings. Sir, you are aware we're empires that are at heads here. We're you know like there's going to be a hard conversation by the military and Trump. Like, sir, do you want Russia to win? Do you want to work with Russia and the defeat of Ukraine? Like, you know, the boys, you know, we're all very confused about what your actual agenda here. We thought you wanted a victory. They might be able to convince him, hey, you could be, you know, the savior of Ukraine. You know what I mean? Trump, you could be the savior, which is, I think that's the direction Davey thinks is going to go in, right? That Trump will be convinced to make this a big win for himself. Right. Oh, and it'll be so easy, right? It'll roll right off his tongue. Oh, you know, Joe Biden, he wasn't doing it correctly. He wasn't managing the war correctly. I got in, I had a meeting with Zelensky, and I had a meeting with my generals. We worked it all out, and guess what? They won. Right? So that could very, very well happen. But Europe seems very unsure about it. So we're seeing, France talking about it. Slovak PM here talking about it. Several EU and NATO members are considering military deployments to Ukraine. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico claimed on Monday. Winter 2022, most of the time I didn't have electricity. Here's how Ukraine is doing in 2024. I mean, that's good. So they're exporting more. That's good news. It's good news. They're exporting more power. 4 vet inbox, spawn random emojis, and then make 15 more. Globalized. It's working. Right? A couple more hours on social media, pounding away that Russia is justified. They're going to win the war. I mean, I'm joking, but that, you know, how the narrative, right? How trepidatious right now is the narrative that Ukraine even deserves to be defended, right? That's that daily misinformation grind that we see. So it is effective, even though people like us who have great bullshit detectors and we're into politics, you know, very deeply. It's easy. It's like, oh, that's bullshit. That's easily detectable. But to your average rube, it's like, oh wow, look at all these comments saying something's wrong about this conflict, that Ukraine might not be justified. It starts to work. Weaponry Poland has purchased. They're armed to the teeth, as they should be. As they should be. Look, I don't mean to be Russia phobic, but Poland seemingly has always been correct about Russia. You know, history is pretty clear about Poland and Russia, you know? Take a look at any pro-Ukraine TikTok and you can see 20 people spamming the same laughing emoji. Yeah. It starts to work. You need to be consistent, just like a terror campaign on a civilian population. It doesn't work to just, bomb a couple towns, do a bucha or two, and then months of silence. You got to do a bucha every month. You got to do a missile strike onto a market, into an apartment building every week. Seemingly, NATO and Poland have been 100% correct about Russia. But what can I say? What can I say? NATO certainly isn't perfect. The right-wing Polish, government is not great. There's a lot of things to criticize, but Poland deserves to exist. Ukraine deserves to exist. They it's not inevitable that they should be absorbed into a massive Russian empire of some sort. So they're considering, they're talking about it. There's pushback. We'll see. I can't say for what purpose or what they would do there. They would initially go there in a non-combat role. Then Russia would do something stupid, right? Drone bomb ends up killing a platoon of Polish soldiers. Okay, now they're entering into a combat role. I don't think this is true, but I've read an article that Putin is waiting for Trump to win so he can invade the Baltics and trade them for Ukraine. Yeah, well, I mean, nothing works out quite like that. It's like, well, okay, let's game theory that, right? We'll have that plan on the shelf. If certain things go in a certain direction, okay, then we can talk about that, right? But in terms of like a one-to-one, okay, he's elected, this is the next step of the plan, I don't think it works out quite like that. I think they game theory several, dozens of scenarios. And they're like, well, if this specific thing happens, and I think they got it granular. Like if Trump picks this VP, we might see this direction. They're trying to predict what these people are thinking, these leaders, right? According to FICO, the war in Ukraine is not going as expected. This Paris meeting is confirmation that the Ukraine strategy of the West has completely failed, he said, without providing details. The strategy was correct. The failure was the execution. They said don't send troops, send machines, armor, and ammo, weapons, right, and money so I can pay these people. Put the guns in Ukrainian hands and they'll shoot them. That was the strategy, and it was fucking working too, dude. It was working great. Pennies on the dollar. So the strategy wasn't the failure, it was the execution, man. It was the failure of the West. And it's not over. Because of the strength of the Ukrainian soldiers, even while they're starving for ammo, and starving literally in some cases, thankfully, no, not as bad as the Russians, they're still able to put up a defense. And give the West time to be idiots, give the West time to flounder and play politics with their lives. That's because of the strength of the Ukrainian people, right? What did we see with the Afghanistan army when they were left to their lonesome? 14 whole hours. Wow. Right? So it's all about the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian soldiers on the front line specifically. So, I mean, this is old news. I had this up, Wednesday, February 28th. But the entire West, speakers of 23 parliaments, issued an open letter to Mike Johnson and Ukraine aid support, begged this theocratic fascist, who, by the way, helped plan January 6th and has not received a speck of punishment for it, has in fact been rewarded the speakership of the House for his efforts. Happy to play politics with Ukrainian lives. For the border, he says. Well, they don't give a shit about the border. They had their entire border agenda handed to them on a silver platter. No, we don't want that. We want to run against you on that. So we don't want all the stuff. Oh my gosh, the border. Oh, Ukraine, the border. And look, do I blame the snake for biting the toad, right? Swimming across the river? Do I blame the snake for being a snake? Or do I blame the toad, aka the neoliberal Joe Biden and the DNC? Do I blame the toad for trusting the snake? Right? That ancient parable. Whatever it is. I don't know. Is it a parable? I don't know. You know, that story, that very old story about the snake and the fucking toad or whatever. Sometimes it's a toad, sometimes it's a different animal swimming across the river. But do I blame Mike Johnson, a proud theocratic fascist? Or do I blame the neoliberals who talk about bipartisanship with these guys? Who talk about bipartisanship with these guys? Oh, great. A Walter White. Are you a Sigma male, sir? Are you here to trigger me? Please don't. I'm so weak and left and liberal. I can barely defend myself. Please. Frog and a scorpion? Yeah. Sometimes it's a snake. Sometimes it's a scorpion. You get what I mean, though. We got Joe Biden still talking about bipartisanship, man. I mean, it's like, we're at the house is on fire, and we're still sitting at the table debating with the DNC about should we call the fire department? Oh, I don't know. I don't want to offend the fire department. I don't know. So, amazing news. Solidarity, really showing the strength of the Ukrainian people and how the Ukrainian government and Zelensky needs to catch up with the times here. Ukrainian veterans reject award after church annuls gay soldiers' medal. So these bastards, with your funny fucking hats and your funny fucking books, decided it was within their right to annul a medal given to a fallen Ukrainian soldier because he was gay. Oh, no! Imagine what they do when we don't see it's so hot and sweaty. Oh, no. But fellow soldiers said no. They were the ones who gave the medal. Oh, interesting. They didn't know he was gay when they gave it, huh? Now the culture wars have come to Ukraine, an Orthodox church. Of course, it's an Orthodox church, by the way. In Kyiv, annulled a medal it awarded to Viktor Pylapenko, a Ukrainian combat medic who served in the battle to fight off Vladimir Putin's full-scale invasion. So he did not die. I don't think he's dead. So that's great news. Boy, that would be something if he was dead. So I apologize for that misinformation. After the church discovered he was gay. Oh, no. Imagine the things he does. I bet this guy thinks about it all day. Oh, my God. It's hot. Welcome back, Borderline Feline. That decision hasn't gone down well with other Ukrainian soldiers and military volunteers who have now started publicly disavowing that same honor they had previously been awarded by the church. So other recipients of this award, throw it. Let's not hate on religion. No, no. Hey, Sigma male. Is the Russian invasion of Ukraine justified? Yeah, no, Zio dude. That's called, you know, decency. Right? When a person with a silly book tells you how to act, okay, that's called, you know, I don't know, common sense decency. Hey, Mr. Sigma male. Is Russia justified in invading Ukraine? Answer the question. Do you have time in between meth cooking sessions? For his part, Poliapenko is deeply grateful for the show of support for his comrades. It's great news. I received a wave of solidarity with the tears in my eyes. Yeah, Chem Goblin. You're not a Sigma male? Answer the question. Or are you too scared? Are you a coward? Answer the question. Was Russia justified in invading Ukraine? Is that a good thing? Answer the question. Solidarity with tears in my eyes because I was already exhausted by years of constant attacks by various right-wing radicals and clerics. Now, this is amazing. Welcome back, Infidel. Is that what you believe, Infidel? That Russia was correct, or are you answering for Mr. Sigma Male? Yeah, you goddamn right. This is an interrogation. I ain't playing. You gotta act right when you're in my chat, dude. Oh, you're a tyrant. No, I just don't want bad actors. Have you been to a leftist chat who just lets these bad actors spit nonsense in their chat 24/7 because they give them the view? Strangely specific in your wording, but I'll take it. Thank you, Sigma. Appreciate it, Walt. Constant text, day after day, when you hear this, no matter how strong you are, it cuts you down. Yeah, I would have bet. Yeah. And just because he has no choice to like dick. You think you check off a box when you're 3 or something? He has no choice but to like butt and dick, guys. No choice. It's just how it rolls, man. Could you imagine? You're checking out a hottie, right? You're like, yeah, man, I'd tap that. And then the moral police are like, what, are you straight? Get out of here. Can you imagine how absurd that would be? What that would do to yourself? Quote, and suddenly I saw the number of bright people I respect, soldiers who supported and protected me. It was incredibly joyful. Amazing. Amazing stuff. Thank you, Chem Goblin. There it is, Infidel. Yeah. So Infidel was agreeing that Russia is totally justified in invading Ukraine. Well, thank you so much, Infidel, for letting me know. Go ahead and fuck off. There we go. Flush you down the drain. Bye-bye. And yeah, look, civilians did die in the bombing of Donbass, but there's a good reason why civilians died in the bombing of Donbass is because the Russian army that was invading Ukraine through the Donbass was using civilian locations to wage an invasion. That's that little detail that's always left out, isn't it? Wow, Walt, you're after the failure of Brexit, you're still bragging about this? What are you, a Jacob Rees-Mogg guy? But no, isn't that something else, huh? Right? It's always, you're always talking about they're always talking about Donbass because yeah, no, there is some documented civilian deaths, Ukraine, from Ukraine. But there's a good goddamn none of it. Civilian deaths are never justified in any war or conflict. But it's like the framing that the pro-Russian people want is that the people in Donbass were just chilling and minding their own business, and bombs rained on them randomly out of nowhere. Just the Ukrainian hate boner against the people of the Donbass. That's the framing, and that is so wildly not the case. That the Ukrainian military was responding to an invasion in the Donbass. Wow, Walt. Wow, really? Wow. So you walk around saying that stuff, huh? That is embarrassing, dude. Long-term investment, huh? I mean, you should have been here yesterday when I showed about 30 minutes of coverage of UK truck drivers and other tradespeople hating Brexit. Long-term investment. I'd like to hear what they would have to say if Brexit's a long-term investment to a truck driver that has to wait half a day just to get through a checkpoint that usually took them 40 minutes. Oh, long-term investment, huh, Walt? So Walt, when is that investment going to kick in? How long term are you talking about? Are we 10 years, 20 years? You know, when Brexit was sold to the British people, I don't recall any long-term investment talk. Do you guys remember that when Boris Johnson was selling Brexit? Long-term investment, was that mentioned? So we talking 10 years, maybe 20 years, we'll see the benefits? Yeah? Wow, awesome. Wow, 10 to 15 years. Thank you so much, Walt, for plunging the British economy into years and years, over a decade of dismal performance. Historic. Oh, Nigel mentioned it. Oh. And even now, with the failures of what you believe in staring you bald face in the fucking eye, you're still like, yeah, I like shit. I'm gonna continue to eat shit. Now, with that said, I'm no fan of Keir Starmer. I don't think, I don't even think he's gonna fix Brexit. I don't think he's gonna reverse Brexit. But I'd take Keir Starmer over Liz Truss. I'd take Jeremy Corbyn. Oh, anti-Semite. It's so funny that they're still smearing Jeremy Corbyn as an anti-Semite when we're literally looking at his predictions. The entire scandal against Jeremy Corbyn of him being an anti-Semite was him criticizing Israel for their invasion of Palestine, for their occupation and apartheid of Palestine. And we're literally looking at, his predictions come true, and he's a rampant anti-Semite. I can't believe you people would even support Jeremy Corbyn. It's unbelievable, man. And you're still just eating dollops of that dookie, dude. Wow, man. How about you show some strength of character and admit you're wrong? Could you do that? No, we're not going to do that, are we? Just going to keep plowing through, huh? 10, 15-year investment, he says. Oh, Nigel mentioned it. Nigel mentioned it, guys. Oh, Lordy. Well, if Farage mentioned it. Here we have, this is some amazing footage. Ukrainians on the front lines fighting for their existence.
You can't see the Russians massing in the forest.
The long-term investment,
but you certainly
guys.
know they're there. Tens of thousands gathering in the trees. Something the members of Ukraine's 32nd Brigade could never match. They took us to a command center a few kilometers from the front, east of the city of Kharkiv. And we found long faces and hard stares in their cabin.
They are storming us, breaching the barbed wire, so they can pass right through.
The Russians used to assault their positions once or twice a day, but now the attacks are continuous.
At the moment, for every shell that Ukraine fires, how many come back from the Russians?
1 to 10.
Hey, Walt, does it really matter? Because you're gonna defend this even if the economy is in the similar state in 2025, right? You're gonna come to the defense of this even then. So what does it matter, man? You've proven to the world that you don't have the strength of character to admit that you're wrong, right? So why even bother giving us these dates and things will get better eventually. Oh yeah, things will get better. You don't even have the strength of character to admit that it was the wrong move. You're doubling down. Lost cause fallacy or whatever the fuck, sunk cost fallacy. Admit that it was a failure, dude. So that we can start fixing it. Right? You don't try to fix something that isn't broken. Right? Oh, Brexit isn't broken. Really? I mean, I'm struggling to figure out who's making out like a bandit. Even the rich people are getting screwed on Brexit. It seems like literally everyone got screwed.
1 to 10. 1 to 10.
Just admit you're wrong.
Their drones capture the imbalance.
Okay.
Here, a Russian vehicle runs into a mine.
Sounds more
Their
like desperate hope.
Scurry to the trees, but they know the enemy will return.
It sounds more like desperation. Right? Because you're like, well, I don't want to admit that I'm wrong because maybe one day I'll be right. And then I'll have to go, I'm just going to stick it out.
The numbers are in their favor.
They have their aircraft, Helicopters, planes, laser bombs, Grads. They use everything along our front line.
They've told us we've got to move out. It's too dangerous.
Time to go.
Cluster bombs, mortar fire, artillery. The forest is alive with this stuff. And they've told us to go.
President Zelensky is desperate to rearm the Ukrainian military, but the members of this anti-tank unit were trying to make their only weapon work.
I blame Mike Johnson. And I blame the European countries that failed to deliver on their promises. God damn. Look at
Screwdrivers and a hammer deployed to bring a Soviet-era bazooka back to life. Something
Where are
they
you at,
achieved
Joe Biden?
eventually.
Where are you at, dude? These are the goddamn antiques they're dealing with.
It works, but sometimes we have problems.
The commander uses it to fire at Russian troops and says it can be deadly. Problem is, he's barely got any grenades.
Have you got enough ammunition?
No, not enough. We've got enough for 12, 13, 15 minutes. That's it.
After 12
The
minutes,
Russians know
after that?
this.
We'll take an AK and shoot with it.
The pressure here is building, as is the collective cost. We met a family dentist, now charged with evacuating casualties from the front line. But many don't survive, he said.
Hold on, I gotta kick in my blur filter here. Getting a little too real. Can't show you some of this here.
It's taking too long to reach them.
This is due to the mortar fire, the shelling. Sometimes it's impossible to reach their positions. It can take 2 or 3 days, even more.
The dentist dragged the body of a 43-year-old soldier to this medical center. The remains of a 49-year-old followed later. There are no good days here, he told me. A generation of Ukrainians are dying on the battlefield. Their fellow citizens are trying to hold the line.
Jesus Christ.
John Sparks, Sky News in Kharkiv region.
Yeah, my border. It's Tisrael. It's so absurd because it's not about the border. I mean, because we have definitive proof that it's not about the border. It's about politics. It's they didn't want to sign that border bill. Not only because it would have been a win for Joe Biden, I guess. Yeah, Joe Biden passing Heritage Fund legislation. Yay. But no, they wanted to run the border crisis, the border crisis, the border crisis. That's what they wanted to run on because they can't run on the economy, right? You did that. Remember that you did that stickers. Well, those don't really look that great when the price is going down, right? Better get that sticker off there. Price is going down. Well, Joe Biden didn't do that. Well, Trump must have somehow. So, like, the economy doesn't work. Abortion, obviously, not a big winner. So there's very few things that they can run on. They certainly can't run on a policy, a slate of policy proposals. Heaven forbid, we can't have that. So the border is the target, and of course, you're seeing Republicans. We saw this. I showed this yesterday with man on the street interviews. Republicans what's your number one priority? The border. Where do you live? Ohio. The border is so important to me. How does that affect you? Well, it doesn't affect me personally, but gosh dang, am I scared about rapists and fentanyl coming over and they're going to try to turn my kids gay, and I'm so worried about it. And Tucker Carlson's telling me I got to donate, and I don't know what's going on. Right? Their number one issue. What a joke. So here's Russia using... just normal war crimes, guys. It's all good. Come on. Here's Russia using, was it phosphorus, white phosphorus, or the other one, magnesium, overnight against Ukrainian positions. I'm scared for the border. I live in Alaska. Bringing the rapists over in canoes and ice floats. Jesus Christ. I've said this before, I'll say it again. It's so It's beautiful, you know, and it's so frightening though. I couldn't imagine being in a building or just, you know, being, you know, because it, you know, the particles fall on the ground and then ignite whatever's around it. And it's just like, you know, it's thankfully it's not a very effective weapon for killing people. It's a very effective weapon. Oh shit, sorry, the volume. It's very effective for frightening people. So I guess this is them launching. Sign a hybrid solution, but my wall was supposed to be tall. Joe Biden doesn't have a problem. Joe Biden's finishing the wall. He's not tearing it down. He's finishing it in places. Joe Biden is a neocon when it comes to the border, just like Obama. The only solution they have is kick him out. The left wing, the Democrats. Kick him out, kick him out. That's the only way. Nothing we can do. There's just nothing we could do. We got all the resources of the United States government. There's just nothing we could do with a bunch of hardworking, willingly hardworking folks. Oh, they're all rapist criminals. No, the fuck, they're not. Most of them are mothers. And yeah, but we got a lot of guys, you know, there's a lot of guys over here, a lot of skilled labor, construction worker, but even more than that, we got all kinds of, you know, architects and all kinds of people coming from Mexico for various reasons with all kinds of skills. Oh man, this scene from The Thing is so good. so frightening. Great scene. Russia has replaced all Ukrainian employees at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. That doesn't surprise me. They're not going to do anything except they're going to turn the power off. That's the number one thing that they want to do. They want to, you know, they're going to shut it down. Unless is it already decommissioned? This is how you implement gun control in America. Tell them it's going to be melted down and used to build the wall. No, if you want gun control in America, start giving guns to black and gay people. And you'll get gun control immediately in America. No problem. Ukrainians Azov Brigade take out squad of Russians during trench assault near Crimea. So I don't think we're going to see any, anybody getting shot here, but you get a first-person view of what it's like to be on one of these missions. God, I mean, yeah, if I was part of this, I could just, every time I'd lay down, in my head, these moments would be playing out in my head. Amazing how they're able to do it. Time and time again, these soldiers. Ace, welcome back, Ace. Good to see you. Give everyone a free RPG. All right, well, suitcase nuke. It's got to be a small nuke. You can only take out a small town. You've got to have some regulations on this stuff, Tisreal. So this footage is really something else because it's totally dark and it's like, it's an early morning raid. So it starts, when the sun is down. But then, while they're fighting, while combat is continuing, the sun comes up. Handsome big brain? Oh, no. Not this guy. Oh, no. But this is really something else, right? Because, I mean, the flashes, you could see the soldiers just for a second, the trees everywhere. The beard's coming back. You know it. Well, I'm going to have more job interviews coming up, so maybe not. Sorry. Once I have a job, I can have a beard. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe I'll start doing interviews with a beard. You need that beard. The beard definitely hides my fat and ugly neck. The beard does a great job of hiding this entire portion of my body right here. So it is a pretty good thing. Here we go. Still going. Sun's coming up. Our beard is not to be disposed of. It comes back. All right. Comes back. Everyone called me a Vosh clone when I had the beard, though. It's like, please don't say that name in my chat. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting closer to a position where I can start school, start training for it. You know, having a kid, having a wife, you know, complicates things. Got to time it correctly. When you're young, you can just, oh, I'm doing this now. I've made this decision and now I'm going in this direction. And, you know, it's great when you're young. You can just make all these decisions, you know, and that's how it should be. That's, you know, that's how it should be. But, you know, as an adult, if I were to do that, I'd be doing a very selfish thing because of the family that I'd be leaving in the lurch. Everything with my wife is fine. Oh no, borderline feline. Oh no. What can? Oh Jesus, man, look at that. That's really something else because like we're getting like the thermal view and you can see the tracers going right into the dirt. Look at that as he's just pumping that side right there. Hold on, right there. Jesus. There's like a guy in there. I think he's shooting back. Oh my God. Yeah, Chem Goblin. No, didn't you hear? They're the white supremacist brigade, Azov. You know, it's just so fucking ridiculous. Because I mean, you know, there are brigades in the United States that have a lot of white supremacists. Does that mean the entire United States military is a bunch of, you know, white supremacists? And then I hate to what about, but the Russian military is rife with white supremacists. You know, there's all kinds of proud Nazi tattoo guys in the Ukraine in the Russian military. I don't know why his light is doing that. Is that intentional? Like the strobe effect? Is that like a mode you can put the flashlight in to disorient people that are in there? Front lines is physically, mentally destroying people I know. One guy used to watch Report here on Twitch when as a volunteer. He's in the supply regiment. Logistics squad, he calls it. He's seen some nasty stuff. Yeah, I mean, if I was... that's where I would like to be if I was volunteering for the Ukrainians. Is time now squarely on the side of Russia in the war of attrition? Mine for longer. The West has shown itself to be feckless. Yeah, I mean, if this continues for another year to the end, if this ammo starvation and attrition continues the whole year, yeah, we might be looking at the fall of Ukraine. Yeah, I mean, Russia's not giving up. Wow, Globalized, that's really amazing. That's really amazing. Make sure you send them our best regards here from the News Underground. Let them know that they got fans. It's really great. If I didn't have the wife and kid, man, I think I'd like to go out there. You know? It's a legitimate fight for democracy. No, borderline feline, no. No. Bluster. They'll never pull out the nukes unless they're being invaded. But yeah. Damn, look at that, dude. Nasty. Nasty, dude. Imagine being in the radius of that, dude. Right there. Black, dude, you are screwed. Nasty. Nasty weapon. Damn, ooh. Uh-oh, I hope that wasn't what I thought it was. I hope that wasn't what I think it was. Damn, look at this badass, dude. Ultimate badass. Look at this guy. Ultimate badass. Wow. No, Chem Goblin, no. She was shooting into the ground. He was just shooting into a pile of clothes. I saw nobody. Holy shit, dude. And you're moving forward. You're getting all that thrown at you, and you're pushing forward, dude. Every step must feel like a monument, you know, like an achievement. Bam. Did they do a VAT sound? Is that... What the hell? Are they doing the Fallout VATS noise? What the hell is that? Static to mute swearing. Oh, okay. It's censorship. I see. Okay. But yeah, guys, we can't have any swearing now. We got to think of the kids, right? Yeah, come on. Have some decency, all right? We got combat footage here. Everyone's trying to have a good time here with the swearing. Oh, it ruined this combat footage for me. Oh, so uncouth. Could we get some censorship, please? Yeah, they're probably like FAG and stuff like that. Yeah, and that actually does make sense because if you have words like that, if you have racial words or words like FAG, social media will remove the video, right? Not because of the violence. Oh, people dying. Yeah, okay, whatever. That's great. Yeah, well, more of that, please. But the cussing. No, we got to. Clorox bleach is perfectly okay putting an advertisement before this video, but not if they're using FAG. Oh, that's scary. Come on. Yeah, but that is the reason. It does help share. It helps with sharing the video when those phrases are not used. We fail to adequately support Ukraine. It will be the biggest foreign policy failure of the U.S. history, worse than Iraq invasion fiasco. I agree with that, Clutch Cargo. I mean, it's like the failure in Iraq and Afghanistan. That was just on us. That was just wasted money and, of course, tragically wasted lives, most preciously in Iraq, Afghanistan, and, of course, the soldiers that died. Wetting the desert with their blood for absolutely no reason. Yeah, but ultimately, America losing Afghanistan, that's on us. That's not going to cause a international incident. Yeah, Russia showing that it's totally possible to use the divisions of the Western alliance against itself. That they could use propaganda and that they could use their statecraft and their techniques to divide and conquer this Western alliance that would then allow them to push forward with conquering Ukraine. Yeah, that would set an incredibly nasty precedent, no doubt about it. Okay, folks, we got time for one more video, and I'm sorry, I know I got more up here, but I got to get back to my family. I think I would like to show this video here. Bungling Russian soldiers, narrowly avoiding killing each other and themselves in footage from Ukraine. So this really kind of reminds me of that really amazing footage we saw earlier in the war of drunk Russians playing with grenades. And then one of these drunk Russian guys, he like throws a grenade and it hits a tree and then bounces right back. And they almost just like milliseconds away from shredding themselves. Feels like invading a country is a bigger foreign policy failure than failing to support a country defending itself from an invasion. Yeah, sure. We can, if you want to put it higher in the rank of failure, sure. I agree, Chem Goblin. I have no problem with that. Chem Goblin has, some skin in the game. Russian soldiers proved their own worst enemies in newly unearthed footage from Ukraine, which shows them narrowly avoiding killing themselves and each other on the battlefield. In one video, a Russian soldier stupidly decides to destroy a mine hidden in a wood by... Whoa! What? Well, I've seen this tactic before. Yeah, I've seen this. I've seen Ukrainians, I think, do this before with the log. Fire an RPG at Ukrainian lines, but fails. Standing behind him, knocking him to the floor with the back blow. Dude, that is a rookie-ass mistake. Oh! Oh, good night. Straight into mines right at the same exact time. What are the odds, dude? Same exact time. Wow. I mean, that, that's not a blunder. I mean, it is. I mean, I guess depending on the information you have. But look, guys, okay, show me where the mines are on this image, guys. You know what I mean? It's like I don't really want to blame a soldier for walking over a mine that they didn't see in a battlefield that looks like a 13-year-old's face. You know what I'm saying? One more time with this guy with the tree, though. What was he thinking? Okay, we got to do slow-mo on that one. Hold up. What was he thinking, dude? Okay. Here's homeboy. Mine is somewhere over here. But Ukraine shot down 13 plus Russian jets in the last 2 weeks. Pretty damn good for a country that doesn't have enough anti-air ammo and guns, and a country that barely has a functioning air force. Pretty damn good. Well, that's great news, Chem Goblin. Thank you for telling me about that. Sorry I missed your first message. All right, let's see this guy do it. Oof. Homie, that's not even that doesn't even give him complete coverage. Oh. And then the shock wave just the shock wave, he just crumples. Holy shit, man. That is next. You got a gun. You know, the gun can shoot distances, Like you actually don't need to get that. You could go back a couple steps, man. Are you that bad of a marksman? Oh, I can't hit that from 10 feet. That's hard. Let me just get 5 feet. Let me just put the barrel of my gun on the mine, and I'm just gonna stand like this and then pull the trigger. Flying safely, even the Donbass. That's great news, Clutch Cargo. My eardrums, yeah, eardrum. It's gone, dude. He can't hear ever again. Look at this. So I have seen Ukrainians do this before, but usually I think they have a longer stick. Look how close I've seen Ukrainians do this with a really, really long stick. Like that's at least twice the size of they are, or even longer, right? Like a big pole arm, right? And they're not. Look how close he is, dog. Look how big that stick is. That's the biggest stick you could find. That's the biggest stick you can find, dog. That stick is barely as tall as you are, dude. So he's about about 6 feet away from this thing. The stick was blown in half. He just looks away. Man. 8 or 10 feet stick. Yeah. Okay. We'll be fair. Like I said, sticks protecting humans in warfare. Wow. Okay. Wow. Land. What is it? Landium Lazy Lizards Lounge? Land Ohm. Okay. Home Depot reject. All right, folks. Well, there you go. That's the lunch break. We're going to be doing this all week. Let's just say I got a little extra time on my hands. So yeah, we're going to be doing this 2 hours every day, Monday through Friday, starting at 12. News break, you got it, Lenny. But we try to be consistent, try to have these consistent streams. Yeah, we're going to be doing more Ukrainian news. Sorry I didn't have time for all of it. We'll get to more of it, I promise. Big props to, hey, there's the Ponder Monkey. Big props to Lenny. Big props to Globalize My Agenda, Chem Goblin, strategy member. Love your comments. Thank you for making my chat an interesting one. Tisriel, strategy member. Clutch Cargo. Once again, Clutch Cargo, thank you for your comments earlier. Appreciate it. Davey, Borderline Feline. You guys make the chat great. Ace, thank you for coming in. All you lurkers out there, you know, you're not saying much, but you like the show. You're watching it. You're watching the VOD. It's all greatly appreciated. It really is. Thank you so much, Zio Duke. Big props to your boy Zio Duke out there. You know, thank you once again for making this chat the best chat on Twitch. Easily the most informed, the most well-rounded, you know. The least amount of bad actors in the chat, you know. We can disagree. It's necessary to disagree, right? It's about being an honest actor in your debate, having the strength to admit when you're wrong, and having the conviction, the moral conviction to know that you're right. Oh, does the pro-Brexiteer feel like he was not treated fairly, guys? Oh, good, bitch. Good. You're exactly who I'm talking about. How about you come to reality, honey? I'm not gonna. You know, the British people deserve better than you. Telling them you have to wait 10 to 15 years for prosperity. Do you know the lost decade in Japan? Do you know they're still recovering from that? Oh, what are you bitching about, Ramoner? It's just 15 to 20 years of economic destitute. Wow, what a bitch. That's an entire generation, motherfucker. So yeah, I certainly do hope you don't feel welcome here, because you're exactly what I'm talking about. Brexit was a failure. Can we move on? Can we talk about fixing it? Oh, I don't know if it was a failure. We probably shouldn't even talk about fixing it, because then I would have to admit I was wrong. Pathetic. Pathetic. My kids deserve better. Your kids deserve better. Oh, it has its pros and cons, huh? Okay. Thank you so much, Walt. I don't know. I'm going to time you out, but I'm probably going to ban you next time. So, because it's like there's no amount of evidence I could give Walt, right? There's no amount of evidence I could give him. It doesn't matter. He's staring at his failure directly, right? Standing right in front of that train, and it's like, there's not a train there. What are you talking about? Even if there was a train there, then, you know, I mean, there's, you know, it's pros and cons to this oncoming train that I'm standing in front of. There's no amount of evidence I could give Walt that would convince him that that this effort was a success in any way. So I ask my chat, what is the point of debating people like that? What's the point? If you don't have the strength to admit something, what is directly in front of your face is what it is, what is the point? What's the debate? That you're not a person looking for an argument. You're a person looking for confirmation bias. You want to hear what you like repeated back at you. Facts be damned. Pros and cons. And let me, you know, and if I were to ask him, well, okay, what were the pros? He'd have a couple pithy little examples. Meanwhile, the cons are massive. And apparently, you know, for those things to balance out, we have to wait 10 to 15 years, according to him. Insanity. His generation and the generation before it, I timed him out. I didn't ban him. But his generation and you know, got to enjoy economic prosperity, and the generation before it got to enjoy the economic prosperity. But we have to deal with 10 to 15 years. And by the way, that's a total ass pull. There's no evidence in 10 to 15 years things are going to get better. Oh, well, there's some stats I heard on GB News that said in 2025 there's going to be a real economic recovery. You mean when the fucking Labor Party takes over? Gee, I wonder why. In 2025 some are predicting the economy's going to get better. Hegemony, Chem Goblin. It is not hegemony. Hegemony. So I'd bring that up before he tries to pull the "We Are the Echo Chamber" bull. Gen Alpha to enter the workforce and it'll be their problem then. I mean, it's so disgusting. You know, but the majority of people that supported Brexit, that implemented Brexit, were a bunch of fucking boomers who got to enjoy, like, boom times. They got to enjoy great economic circumstances. And now they have the gall, after their failure, now they have the gall to just be patient. Just be patient. Wait for the wonderful benefits to materialize. The benefits, by the way, that they said were guaranteed to happen almost immediately. We're going to renegotiate these deals. Bollocks, dude. Bollocks. It's bollocks. And I'm supposed to have a debate with a guy that literally can't even admit baseline economic factors. You know? It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. Tell that to the entire trucking industry. Tell that to the entire fishing industry. Tell that to the entire construction industry. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Go ahead and tell that it's a mixed bag. Wait 10 to 15 years as a business owner. Just underperform in your business for 10 to 15 years, and then things will get better. I'm so glad we made this decision. It's so frustrating, man. You know, it's like having a debate with someone about how good the Iraq war was. How great for America the Afghanistan war was. How, you know, if we had to do it again, we should go right back into Vietnam and just do exactly what we did before. We can't even acknowledge that it was a failure. And if we can't collectively even acknowledge it's a failure, how in the fuck are we going to talk about solutions? Yeah, strategy. Borderline feline. Yeah. All right. 2/3 of Brits now thinking Brexit was a terrible idea. Well, Clutch Cargo, I mean, did they hear that in 10, 15 years things might get better? Did they hear that part? Sounds like a bunch of Ramoners to me. Just don't understand the benefits of Brexit. What they should do is watch a 45-minute speech by Jacob Rees-Mogg about how all these benefits that they're never going to see are going to eventually get to them. And then, hey, if there's no benefits, well, we can fall back on nationalism. Well, you know, now that, you know, we've separated from the rest of the European Union, now we don't have to take any crap from those gross other Europeans that look just like me, that are just as white as me. just tick, tick, tick. 2 decades left, man. Quit bitching. Have some patience. All right, you get it. Thanks again. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. Glory to Ukrainian democracy. And let's not forget my 3-step program to create political change. Step 1, inform yourself. Step 2, join a political organization in your area, progressive, lefty, whatever it is. Step 3, put in the work and don't be ashamed of it. Push back. Push back. Stand for what you believe in. And push it. Repeat it. Drive it. Pound it. Oh, sorry. Damn it. No, folks. Thank you again. We'll see you tomorrow. News Underground, Abandoned Nihilism, a.k.a. The Harbinger. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you. Peace in that motherfucker Middle East. My name's Ba'o. How dare you say I'm not British? I'm the most British person here. Take care of yourself. Call your mother. She misses you. Bye.